Hey guys. So from now on until a long while away, sorry, I'm going to be mentioning a different ASMR artist in each of my videos. The particular video will be dedicated to them. I don't know how many videos that's going to take until I run out of my personal favorite ASMR artists. Obviously I could go on for a very long time if I wanted to name all the channels that are on YouTube, but I haven't even found them all. At any rate, this first video is going to be dedicated to Heather Feather because I'm doing it her style. Doing several different triggers all in one video. So I was going to dedicate my first dedication video, that sounds so weird, to the lovely Miss Ilsa, the Water Whispers, because she is my absolute favorite ASMR artist. But I think I'm gonna make something a little bit more special for her. And I don't want any of you other lovely channels to feel slighted. It's just she's the one that originally inspired me to make my own videos, and so I feel kind of grateful to her. Sorry for my occasional me. Just got a little teeny little frog in my throat. Okay. So, the first thing I'm going to start with is this ball. And it's kind of weird sounds I'm going to make with it, and not everyone will like it, so if you don't, just skip to the next thing in the video. But sometimes sort of plastic squeaky sounds can be relaxing. And I know some people like the way a balloon, like when you slightly squeeze a balloon, some people like that sound. We don't have any balloons around right now, but I thought I'd make do with this ball. And actually, when you really rub your finger on it, it makes a sort of a pinging sound almost, but I don't think you can hear it unless it's right up to your ear. So, I'm going to scoot closer and bring this up to your ear. So you can hear the sort of ringing sound with the squeaking. On the other side. It's funny because it's made out of plastic, but when you tap it, it kind of sounds like you're tapping on glass. Not the initial contact sound, but the sort of after sound. I don't know. And I'm sorry that my camera doesn't like to refocus. My chair's a little noisy, sorry. So, this ball bounces really high because it's really filled with air. It's called a sky ball. Hypercharged, it says. And it's really great for playing with, like, in a parking lot, on hard surfaces, not as much on, like, soft ground. It doesn't really bounce, but on hard ground it does really go very high. So, that's that. For the second trigger, I'm going to bring up my little lap desk to give me a flat surface, and then this is a lantern. It's very cheaply made. It looks like cast iron, but it's probably something cheaper and just painted over. I don't actually remember where I got it from. I've had it for about 3 years, I think. And I like the sound that it makes when your fingers brush the surface. I think it sounds very soothing. I really like lanterns and candles and fire. I'm sort of obsessed with fire, but in a very non-obsessive way. That doesn't really sound like it makes sense. I love fire. I love to think about it and write about it and draw it. But I'm not like some pyromaniac person. This is probably the loudest thing I have. in the video, so I'm glad I'm doing it first. Okay, over here is where it opens up. There is some wax here, and on the inside there's a candle melted in here, and there's wax around the back. I don't mind that the candle's melted in. I can just sort of lever it out with like a screwdriver or something when it's almost gone. I think you'd see this lantern in my first ever whisper video that I posted sort of as a really short special. It was on my birthday and the power went out. It's a really terrible video, and I don't think it's relaxing, but I posted it anyways for nostalgia's sake, I guess. So that's the second thing. My lap desk makes some rather nice noises too. I actually have a little bit of some nails on my left hand. They've been finally growing out, but these two are still sort of torn, and this one is really short too. I had to cut it. My nails are not very strong and they tear easily, so I need to get some glue on nails so I can make better sounds for you guys when I do tapping videos. Okay, let's see. I guess I'll do this. This is an eyeglasses case. it's kind of beat up and has like dents in it. It's got writing here. It says Pro Design Denmark on it. Now this particular case is, I think, 3 years old. Inside are a pair of glasses. And there's really soft velvet fabric inside. And these green glasses. Now, I'm going to try and come a little more close to you so you can see the detail. I can adjust this so you can see. Okay. There's tiger stripes here. Yeah, that's as bad as I can get. And a little bit of bejeweling on them. It's quite thick here. And I wore these glasses a year and not quite a year ago. Well, a year ago. At this time I was wearing them. I was supposed to get new ones, but I didn't find any I liked at the eye doctor's, and we never got around to taking my prescription to other places. So I ended up just wearing these ones, which are actually older than the green ones. And I got them the year before the green ones. But last June, as put them on so I can see again, as my high school graduation was coming up. I really wanted to be able to wear new glasses, and so I took these ones out, the purple ones, and they apparently went really nicely with my graduation gown, so I just wore them and then kept wearing them because I was tired of these. And on this one, there's, I don't think you can see it even if I come closer. Nope, you can't see it, but there's scratching right down right here. And these are the transition glasses, so when I would go out in the sun, all of this would turn black except the stripes down here. And it was very annoying. And I'm looking through the stripes. I'm not out in the sun. So, when it had been quite a while of me wearing these purple ones, I thought about going back to the green ones, but purple ones are in better shape. Much better shape. So, these ones just got stuck in the case. Soon we should be getting our yearly, like my mom and I should have our yearly eye doctor appointments. So if my prescription changes at all, I'll get a new one, and then hopefully get some new glasses. I know this. It's got the magnets inside, so I know it's a little bit loud, but I like the sound it makes. So that's a funny thing about my glasses. Oh wow, my bruise is getting nice and colored now. I just noticed that. I'll move on to the next thing and maybe tell you about that. Okay. Next thing is this iPod with the crack in the corner, and the cracks kind of go out. You can't really see it. I'm blocking the light when I move a little bit, and then you can see better. Yeah, you can. Now you can sort of see. I don't really use this. It was my sister's, and she got a new one, so she just gave this one to me. But I don't use it much because I'm always on my laptop. And if I want to play Temple Run 2, I can just borrow my sister's. Either of my sister's eye products. So, back to the bruise. I take karate, and it's not that funny of a story, but Friday is the more active class. It's 2 hours long, and at the end of it, this past week, we got to play the Obi-Nut game. I'm just gonna, okay, the Obi-Nut game is, your Obi is your belt in Japanese, and the object of the game is you're in a ring, and it's practice for sparring, just fighting but with pads on and stuff, using karate techniques. Anyways, we don't use pads for the Obi-Nut game. We just, you're just using blocks and open hand techniques. Anyways, the object of the game is to touch the other person's Obi-Nut. And I always like to go up against Matt, who's the tallest in the dojo, and he's the third oldest and the second oldest. And because he's really good practice for me, it's a good challenge. And every time I go up against him, he's got like really strong arms and hands and stuff, so every time I come away with a bruise somewhere, because when he blocks, he really blocks, and this time chop my hand out of the way. And now I have a lovely bruise, which I'm sort of proud of, which is quite stupid, but that's me. Anyways, so that's my bruise story. Which, as you've probably deduced, is a very silly story, but it was something to talk about, and it made me, smile, and maybe that made you smile. I apologize that I've never really shown my face, but I am rather self-conscious, and it's just not my thing. Hopefully that's okay with you. I really respect the ASMR artists that show their faces to add to the experience. Thank you for that. I'm really sorry I don't have longer nails that make better tapping sounds. I honestly do try. My nails just don't like to grow long. I do have a bit of a nail biting habit, but I'm trying to break it. And then every time I resist the urge, my nails go and tear on something else, which makes me think, what is the point? So, it's completely out of battery, because I don't charge it because I don't really use it, so. Plus it's rather slow, it's like 3rd generation or something. I don't know. Alright, that's that. Next. Why not? A little Easter egg. You probably know this kind. You heat up a bowl of water, put this around the egg, stick in the water, and it goes around the egg. You're supposed to do it on a real egg, but my sisters like to do it on plastic eggs too, for some reason. And since this one is imperfect, it has wonderful crinkly plastic sounds. I'd like to apologize quickly for my absence of an Easter sounds or something video. I meant to do one, but it just didn't happen. I was doing other things. So hopefully you were amused by that little stop motion that I posted on my first channel. I would say my main channel, but honestly I spend more time on my ASMR channel than on my normal person channel. This is rather loud too. I hope it's not too loud. It just sounds so good. This isn't distracting you. Kind of distracts me, but I kind of have to keep it on because otherwise my toenail catches on everything. It's ridiculous. It's like when you get a bruise on your elbow or something. It seems every opportunity you have to bump that bruise, you do it. It's one of those things. Sorry, I'm sitting on my knees and my feet always fall asleep when I do that. Look, it's a heart. It's an egg heart. Because I love you guys. I love you as much as I love eggs. No. I love you more. I'm in a bit of a silly mood. Don't steal my tingles. They're mine. I don't know if this makes a difference, but I could probably make a lot of sounds with this and just keep going on forever, but I have some more things for you, so I'm gonna move on now. Okay. Okay. Next. What to do? This is either a vase or an oddly shaped shot glass. I hope you can hear the nice little sounds it makes. I got this, another green one that went all really narrow at the top, and another green one. This, a green one that went narrow at the top, and another green one, which is down here, that I will show you in a moment. I think my dad brought them back from some yard sale or something when he'd been out with my sister or something. Because I like little vases and pitchers and cups and things like that. I do have quite lovely collection of shot glasses from various places in England, France, and Ireland, and here in the US. So, if you would like to see those, it'd be more of a show and tell video, and not too many sounds, because this can get old after a while, but it could be interesting, and I would try and use my hands to demonstrate them in very graceful ways, because I know you guys, or viewers in general, like to see things demonstrated with graceful hands. Okay. Now see the second one. It's a little dusty. Didn't notice it before. It's a bit of an odd shape. More more vase-like. The one with the smaller top I gave to my sister because she wanted one. I said, fine, I like these two best, you can have the other one. I guess they must be vases, just mini ones. When I hold it like this, it looks like it has a little candle in the bottom or something, but it doesn't. It has fuzz at the bottom. That's why it's so white, because it's hard to dust down there. I'm presenting to a dusty vase. Vase. That's a cross between a vase and a vase. Fact for you. Sorry about that. Okay, so I really like this sound. Now, my ears can be quite sensitive. So personally, I'm detecting an undercurrent of very high-pitched ringing that rather bothers me, but the overcurrent is rather pleasant. So, if you don't like it, again, skip ahead. But some people like more high-pitched sounds. Try not to be too loud. I don't know if you can hear, but downstairs my mom and sisters are watching MASH without me. I don't blame them because I voluntarily came up here to make an ASMR video for you. I hope you appreciate my sacrifice. I'm joking. It's like this is a vase and this is the hat on top. It's an outlandish hat from the Emerald City in Oz. Or maybe this is a person's head and that's their dress. I like to find stories and everything. Sometimes I wish I was a dancer. I love to watch contemporary dances on YouTube because they usually have a story, at least when they're two lyrical songs. And in my head, when I pretend that I'm a dancer, I always say if I couldn't dance, I'd sing. If I couldn't sing, I'd act. If I couldn't act, I'd write. Because no matter what I do, I want to tell stories. And that is really what I want to do. I love to tell stories. Give me a subject and I will probably be able to make up some sort of story from it. Okay. I also have here this green glass ball that I got from the Smithsonian Institute, whatever, one of the museums at the mall in DC. I think it was the Museum of Natural History, maybe. Because they've got this wonderful gem department and souvenir store up there, which has like big hunks of rock and really expensive hunks of, I don't know, amethyst and stuff. Anyways, I got this there because it was a lot cheaper than a gemstone. This is a kind of a visual trigger. Now, if you look through the end of it, which is right here, sometimes you can see through, see? You can see my finger. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. You can see red. It's like, makes me think of a palantir, one of the lost seeing stones. We do not know who may be watching. Sky. The Eye of Sarah. Yeah, I'm a fantasy chick. Oh, and since this video is dedicated to Feather Feather, I'd like to say I love all your fantasy references. I don't get all of them, but other people comment, and it just, you're awesome and wonderful, and I love you so much more because of that. And yes, you're really cool and inspiring, and I'm blinding myself with this green stripe. Anyways, thank you, Miss Feather. My sister was at my friend's house and she was watching him. He is not a friend, he is my friend, but his younger sister is my sister's friend, if you can go with that. And she was hanging out with her friend, but her friend's older brother, who is my friend, sorry, itching my elbow, was playing a Zelda game. She's not sure which one. She just knows that she got to see him get Epna, and I can't remember in which one he gets Epna, because I'm not the hugest Zelda know-it-all. I'm just sort of a fan. At any rate, she was talking about Navi and stuff, and I told her that Miss Feather had a Navi in her doctor video, and how it totally freaked me out that it was so awesome that she had that. The mystical green dragon eye of Kalamazoo. No, that sounds like Kalamazoo. Of Cthulhu. Beware the intoxication of power. Don't take unless you know the responsibility you are accepting. Oh, look, see, I just made up a story. I love this ball. I love to just play with it in my hands. It's so smooth, and just looking at the light, how it plays with your eyes and stuff. You could hypnotize people with these things. Watch the light and listen to the sound of my voice. Okay. So, next, I think, why not, it's a little book called The Writer's Block. My friend found it in a bookstore and showed it to me, and I couldn't just leave it there, I had to get it. It says, on the front it says 786 ideas to jumpstart your imagination. And there are 3 types of pages. There are like story, bits of stories, and then you write something about it. It tells you about a type of story and then you write it. Then it'll tell you, like, show you a picture and then say, write a story about something. You write it. There's spark words, so Halloween, write a story about Halloween. And there's quite a lot of them because it is a block book. So maybe I'll just go through and read a few of them. Homeless. Oh, the other ones, yeah, it tells you, write a story about this, it gives you a word that tells you, or it has information about, let me get through the introduction, okay, writing challenges, okay, there are writing challenges, there are spark words, and there are writing topics. So, short fuse, that's a spark word. Bizarre books is a writing topic, and this would be a writing challenge. Write about your first artistic expression. And then it has these pictures of little kid drawings. So, I have not gone all the way through this book. I have only done a few of them. And I opened it randomly and then, well, that's a nice picture. Anyways, I've really only done a few, and with 786, I've done maybe 6, so I've got 780 more ideas to go through. So it should have been my New Year's resolution this year to go through this or something, but I'll do them all someday, you know. Life doesn't, you know, just because you don't do something at one point doesn't mean you can't do it later. At least, not usually. I'm fanning myself by doing these pages. I can't do it really all the way across because it's so thick. It says, concentrate on this ink blot for several minutes, then write about what you see. Trace the journey of a $5 bill through the lives of 5 different owners. What was exchanged during the transactions? How much or how little did the transaction mean to each of the people involved? Describe the first person who broke your heart. If you had the chance to take revenge on them, would you? Now see, I haven't. Besides when I was 14, I had this weird crush thing on someone. I've never really gotten my heart broken. So that would have to be a fictional story. Tell the story of a blind date. Begin writing it from one person's point of view. If you get stuck, switch the perspective of their date. Superstitious. Prophecy. Describe the worst date of your life. Where do you think your date is now? Do you think he or she ever thinks of you? And the picture is this geeky guy with the glasses smiling in that, you know, geeky way that, and he's got flowers. I've never been on a date, so you must think me a crazy person, but my opinions on dating and boyfriends and girlfriends is very different from the normal opinion, I think, so anyways. I saw this. I was getting the supplies for this video and I saw this on my shelf. Figured since I'd just recently done a video talking about writing, I should share this with you. I've got a few different books about writing. 2 of them are chapter books. One of them is called Writer's Ink, and it's really about all types of writing. I've got this. I've got a couple other things. Anyways. I'm so sorry, that's my dog. Outside. Another book. I sort of don't like it because it's got this coral pink on it, and I'm not a pink fan. In fact, I really don't like pink. I almost wasn't gonna accept one shirt my mom got for me because it had a little too much pink on it, but I got past it. Anyways, it says, "Words to Warm a Graduate's Heart." So I got this last June. I read like the first couple of pages and that's it. It's a really great book to sit on your shelf, which is kind of a sad thing. But yeah. Oh, I love tapping on books. The different pitches. I just like to hear just that. I love that. Kind of like rain. Really like. Now this book, again you can't see it, sorry, but has been embossed sort of, and certain parts are indented, some parts are outdented. pages are pink too, which of course I just love. Let me read a little bit, let's see. Nothing important or meaningful or beautiful or interesting or great ever came out of imitations. The thing that is really hard and really amazing is giving up on being perfect and beginning the work of becoming yourself. No one ever attains very eminent success by simply doing what is required of him. It is the amount and excellence of what is over and above the required that determines the greatness of ultimate distinction. Counting your blessings is not something that necessarily happens in a moment, a day, or even a year. Sometimes the blessings that emerge from pain take an entire lifetime to reveal themselves, and that's a good thing. You never know when the challenge you are facing now will become an instant thank God, simply by virtue of not being as bad as what you've already survived. In the end, I consider myself extremely lucky. At age 19, I paid tuition up front in the School of Adult Life. I learned about pain, anger, frustration, and perseverance. Without knowing those, I wouldn't fully recognize grace, victory, joy, beauty, peace, and gratitude. I thank God for all of that. I am still reaping the rewards of my life education. More importantly, I'm here to tell the story. I don't dream of wealth and success for you, but instead, a job you like, skills you can perfect, enthusiasm to light your heart, friends, and love in abundance. There is no hiding from work in one form or another. Under the great sky of our endeavors, we live our lives, growing, we hope, through its seasons towards some kind of greater perspective. Any perspective is dearly won. Maturity and energy in our work is not granted freely to human beings, but must be adventured and discovered, cultivated and earned. It is the result of application, dedication, an indispensable sense of humor, and above all, a never-ending courageous conversation with ourselves, those with whom we work, and those whom we serve. It is a long journey. It calls on both the ardors of youth and the perspectives of a longer view. It is achieved through a lifelong pilgrimage. Now, some of those words don't exactly warm my heart, but they do encourage me. So maybe they do, even though they tell me that, you have to work hard and stuff to have a good future. They still do warm my heart, isn't that funny? Okay. Next I've got this. Do you know what this is? I got this at a living history museum in Indiana. Probably guessing it's one of two things. Well, it is a compass. Oops. Now it looks a lot newer on the inside, worn, but I love this thing. It's well worth however much I paid for it. It's something as simple as a little compass can seem to just sort of act as a little imagination booster to transport you away to other worlds. I like the little sound it makes in your ear. You shake it. Oops. Hang on. Can you hear it? Do it on this side. It's very sort of tarnished metal. I like it that it's sort of imperfect. I used to feel like maybe it was handed down to me by my father or something. And his grandfather before him. The inside doesn't really add to that effect, but when it's shut, it seems more of a family antique. My dad actually has a really cool compass type thing that maybe I'll show to you sometime. It's like the kind used on ships, and it's quite fancy looking. It's also, I think it's broken, like it doesn't work as a compass, but it looks really cool, so. Also, we have lots of souvenirs and things from different places and given to us by friends that could be very interesting to show you, so I'll have to make after I do show and tell of my own personal souvenirs, maybe I'll do some with the family stuff. I'm very lucky that my family's been able to travel to different places and see wonderful things and make wonderful memories. One of the things that I'd love to buy if I get a book published and make lots of money after I pay for college, I'd really like to buy like an old pocket watch, maybe about this big or something, and like get it engraved, or maybe it's pre-engraved, like it's some historic thing. It seems really silly, but I love the idea of the pocket watch. You know, I don't like to wear a watch on my wrist, but I would carry a pocket watch with me, even though I could tell the time on my phone. Just having a pocket watch, that would be so cool. Hopefully some of you out there can empathize with me on this. Feels really nice in the hand. The metal is cool, but when you hold it, it really warms up. And again, just gives birth to stories. And as I said, I love to tell stories. I like to hold it against my cheek and just think about, you know, if it had been handed down to me, what are the stories it would tell if it could tell stories. That sort of thing. I like inventing stories for things and then pretending like it's telling them back to me. think they're written incredibly well. The characters, the intricateness of intricacy, that's a word, of the plot, the tiny little snippets that you don't need but you're glad they were there because they give a reality and an extra warmth, especially in darker of moments. J.K. Rowling is a true story weaver, and you ask me, what do you want to do? Well, I'd like to be the next J.K. Rowling. That's me. I'm scratching at Harry's face. Why don't we turn it around and then we can scratch out instead. And these books were so deliciously long. I love a nice long book. Tamora Pierce has several great fantasy books, but they're rather short. And these are great fantasy books, but they're rather long. And I love how the first chapter is always sort of different from the rest of the book, in a way, like the first chapter of this one. Let's go through. First chapter of this is about the old Riddle House, Voldemort and Wormtail and the old man, and it's set in a different sort of zone or something from the rest of the book in a way. I mean, this book is definitely has its very dark bits to it, but this one was sort of, the first chapter was just sort of, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, if you've read these books, if you've bought these books, you probably know what I mean. But then again, it could just be my very storyteller self that likes to make a mountain out of a molehill. Or in some cases, a molehill out of a mountain. It depends on the context. I've read this book at least 5 times. Betting some of you have read it more than that. Actually, I've read Goblet of Fire a lot of times. I think that's the longest book. I go back to that one a lot. I go back to Prisoner of Azkaban a lot. Prisoner of Azkaban is kind of my favorite of the movies, and as such it's endeared the story even more to me, so I go back to the book also. Half-Blood was my favorite book before I got to this one, and then the movie just really disappointed me, so as such, it sort of reflected on how I like the book now, which is very odd. Usually, my opinions on books and movies are strictly different. Then, reading this book and how it all just comes together, oh, so brilliant, and I can't think of the right adjective. perspectives right now, but it's got to be definitely my favorite. Okay, now let's take the dust jacket off, because the normal cover of the book also makes some good sounds. Okay. There are two different types of cover. This is fabric, and as such is excellent for scratching. Not everybody likes this particular sound of fabric. It depends for me. It's really loud. I don't as much like it, but maybe if you turn down the volume at this point, it'll be nicer. This is, can't see it really, but if I tilt it, maybe there we go. It's got this diamond-like pattern on it, so it gives some extra texture. I should read something from this. Let's see. about the story of the three brothers. There were once three brothers who were traveling along a lonely, winding road at twilight. In time, the brothers reached a river too deep to wade through and too dangerous to swim across. However, these brothers were learned in the magical arts, so they simply waved their wands and made a bridge appear across the treacherous water. There were once three brothers who were traveling along a lonely, winding road at twilight. In time, the brothers reached a river too deep to wade through and too dangerous to swim across. However, these brothers were learned in the magical arts, so they simply waved their wands and made a bridge appear across the treacherous water. They were halfway across it when they found their path blocked by a hooded figure, and Death spoke to them. He was angry that he had been cheated out of 3 new victims, who travelers usually drowned in the river. But Death was cunning. He pretended to congratulate the three brothers upon their magic, so that each had earned a prize for having been clever enough to evade him. So the oldest brother, who was a combative man, asked for a wand more powerful than any in existence, a wand that must always win duels for its owner, a wand worthy of a wizard who had conquered death. So Death crossed to an elder tree on the banks of a river, fashioned a wand from a branch that hung there, and gave it to the oldest brother. Then the second brother, who was an arrogant man, decided that he wanted to humiliate Death still further, and asked for the power to recall others from death. So Death picked up a stone from the river bank and gave it to the second brother, and told him that the stone would have the power to bring back the dead. And then Death asked the third and youngest brother what he would like. The youngest brother was the humblest and also the wisest of the brothers, and he did not trust Death. So he asked for something that would enable him to go forth from that place without being followed by Death. And Death, most unwillingly, handed over his own cloak of invisibility. Then Death stood aside and allowed the three brothers to continue on their way, and they did so, talking with wonder of the adventure they had had, and admiring Death's gifts. Then Death stood aside and allowed the three brothers to continue on their way, and they did so, talking with wonder of the adventure they had had, and admiring Death's gifts. In due course the brothers separated, each for his own destination. The first brother travelled on for a week or more, and, reaching a distant village, sought out a fellow wizard with whom he had had a quarrel. Naturally, with the elder wand as his weapon, he could not fail to win the duel that followed. Leaving his enemy dead upon the floor, the oldest brother proceeded to an inn, where he boasted loudly of the powerful wand he had snatched from Death himself, and of how it made him invincible. That very night, another wizard crept upon the oldest brother as he lay, wine-sodden, upon his bed. The thief took the wand and, for good measure, slit the oldest brother's throat. And so Death took the first brother for his own. Meanwhile, the second brother journeyed to his own home, where he lived alone. Here he took out the stone that had the power to recall the dead, and turned it thrice in hand. To his amazement and his delight, the figure of the girl he had once hoped to marry before her untimely death appeared at once before him. Yet she was sad and cold, separated from him as if by a veil. Though she had returned to the mortal world, she did not truly belong there, and suffered. Finally, the second brother, driven mad with hopeless longing, killed himself so as to truly join her. And so Death took the second brother for his own. But though Death searched for the third brother for many years, he was never able to find him. It was only when he had attained a great age that the youngest brother finally took off the cloak of invisibility and gave it to his son. And then he greeted Death as an old friend, and went with him gladly, and, equals, they departed this life. Hermione closed the book. Let's put the dust jacket back on. tapping sounds video. I hope you enjoyed. And I promise that this is not the only one of these. There will be more to come. I'm still going to have a varied length of my videos. And I'm working up the nerve to do a couple of role plays. I don't know how they would work since I'm still not quite willing to show my face, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, got tingled, or tingles, whatever. And remember that I love you all. Bye-bye. My dog is barking. There's a dog that lives somewhere over there, and it likes to bark, and then my dog barks back, and it's just barking wars, and it's so annoying. And then sometimes when I make a video in the middle of the day, you can hear the rooster crowing because he crows at midday instead of in the morning, because he's just stupid like that. The animals at my house are all crazy. The guinea pig is crazy, the cats are crazy, the dogs are crazy, the chickens are crazy. They're not my chickens, they're my sister's chickens, but they're still crazy. And there's a fox in the woods, there's mom's raccoon, there's always deer. And the deer are kind of crazy because the dog will stand out in the yard and bark at them, and the deer just stare at the dog. Like, yeah, what you gonna do? And the dog has an invisible electric fence, so she can't go into the woods and get them, which makes her mad.